Live on WBOK and online at WBOK1230.com.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Conversations with Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com and also on YouTube. We are back for another great episode of Conversations with Richardson. This time we're going to take a little different approach and step away from the usual topic of mental health and disability and different things like that. Or maybe we could add in mental health and some similar topics. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about the Tuskegee Airmen today. And I would like to welcome my very, very special guest, Miss Angela Holmes. Angela, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So I want you to give my listening audience a brief introduction of who you are and why you're here on Conversations with Richardson today. So take it away.
My name is Angela Holmes. I'm the first vice president of Tuskegee Airmen, Inc.
Mm-hmm.
I am the daughter of a Vietnam veteran, so this all kind of ties into your mental health as well as promoting excellence within the students.
Well, first and foremost, I want to welcome you to Conversations with Richardson, and I want to let you know that you are now extended family of WBOK and Conversations with Richardson. Are you okay with that?
I appreciate that.
All right. So welcome to the show. So I want you to open up with explaining what you do, and I want you to give us a little breakdown of the Tuskegee Airmen for those who may or may not know the history.
So on my day job, like I said, I'm the daughter of a Vietnam veteran, and I've been an advocate for veterans for more than 15 years, making sure that they get access to community opportunities, engaging them within their community. A lot of times when veterans come home, they isolate. And so I've been making sure that seasoned veterans tie up with younger veterans, and it seems to be working. And so that's what pretty much brought me to the Tuskegee Airmen. My family comes from Birmingham, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And as I did my family history, I discovered that my great uncle was a scholar with George Washington Carver.
Really?
At Tuskegee Institute.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to it becoming a university. Mm-hmm. And learned a lot from him. He was a mathematician.
Really?
Yes.
So
yes.
What made you, we talked about your history, but how did you get into doing what you do?
For Tuskegee Airmen?
Yes.
I woke up on Christmas in 2010 and my dad said, "Hello, Merry Christmas. You are now a member."
Really? Okay. So basically, he didn't give you a choice. You had to accept it. Am I right?
No, it was more, he knows I'm a historian. I traced both sides of my family way, way back. And he knew that my energy and my, lack of a better word, my nerdism about history would be beneficial to the local chapter, the East Coast chapter of Tuskegee Airmen here in the DMV. And so once I got in, I was hooked. You know, I spent, I want to say from 2010 until we lost the last one in 2024, getting to know the original airmen, getting their story. The last one I spent time with, he passed away at 101, and that was Professor Ware.
Okay.
He let me know that he was one of the founding members and, you know, all the different things that they had in mind for the organization. And it was basically what I was brought up on, which is you do your best. And when your best matches other people's, meaning people of non-color, you have to do even more.
Right.
I was a straight A student, and my dad said, "Go get extra work." And I used to look at him like, there's nothing higher than an A. What are we doing?
Right.
But
I think
now see the fruits of my labor.
Yeah, I think I can speak for all of us. I know we're a separate generation, but I think all of our parents pushed us to do more than what everybody else was doing. I could speak for
Hmm.
myself, being disabled. Um, my grandparents and my mom really said, you have to do better than the rest. So it was a lot of pressure on me, but now that I'm older, I do understand, what they were talking about. It's almost like, you being an African American, a black man, a black woman in this country, you have to push more, because
Hmm.
more is expected of you. And I don't even know if it's expected of you. I think that people have a idea of how they think we should be, and they don't think we are going to achieve the things that we achieve, and we have to prove them wrong every time. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, a lot of times when we show up, they look at our face. You met me in person. My face looks young,
Yes.
but there's a lot of knowledge in there, and it's because I hung around the elders in my family,
Hmm.
learned so much of of the black migration from the South. Um, Learned what we did in the inner city once that we got to the inner city, and I just have good examples.
Yeah.
My great grandfather left North Carolina in 1929 with 13 children. He had a second grade education and he was a sharecropper. He started his own handyman business in the nation's capital.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was a push. He didn't have a third of the exposure to education that we did.
Yes.
So there's no reason for me not to be excellent.
Right.
And that's kind of what I got out of the airmen.
Mm-hmm.
Many people don't realize that when the airmen went into the service, a lot of them had master's degrees
Really. So.
long before they went to the university.
Mm-hmm.
The university was just really there to teach them how to be soldiers.
Right.
And quite a few of them were actually pilots prior to the university.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to share is this.
Mm-hmm.
People have to understand the Tuskegee Airmen were part of the Tuskegee experience. I want that to be clear. There's a difference between the experiment and the experience.
Okay, so why don't you break down the Tuskegee experiment and then go into the experience so people can get a better understanding of what you're talking about?
Okay, so during the last century, in the early 1900s, doctors were trying to figure out smallpox and syphilis and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So they didn't, they weren't thinking about using dogs and cats and rats like they do now. They actually used men and women.
Mm.
And as far as syphilis was concerned, they were developing penicillin, and they were trying to figure out how well it worked so it would cure other races. And unfortunately, blacks in Alabama were part of the experiment. It was the medical experiment. And I used to say, unfortunately, my great-grandfather was part of that. But you know what? My great-grandfather surpassed what they anticipated. He lived past the experiment time. He owned land. He had workers. So he was not the typical experiment persons. Now, the experience is all about surpassing the thoughts of what the Tuskegee Airmen's brain would be able to maintain. A lot of people in the military, leaders in the military, did not believe that the airmen in the first class and the second class would be able to fly a plane. We proved them wrong before we left the States.
And this was all because of the color of our skin, correct?
That is correct. So you can imagine the mental strain it had on us, but yet the fortitude we had, because again, at home you were being told you're going to go to school, you're going to go to college, you're going to do this, you're going to be excellent when you walk out the door. Remember that? Your parents used to say, when you go out the door, you represent me?
Yes, very well.
Okay.
Very
So
well. Yeah.
you had to come dressed sharp. You had to have your skill set. Your language could not be them, that, these, and those.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were mentally prepared already.
Hmm.
And when we showed up and showed out, as we did, they didn't know what to do with us.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I can remember growing up as a child. My grandmother was a stickler for English, and she would always tell me, "Ain't is not a
Ooh, it's
word."
not in the dictionary.
Yeah.
Yes,
But funny enough, years later, things have changed so much. When you look in the Webster's dictionary, "ain't" is in there now, and it's like, okay, well,
correct.
yeah, I don't remember this being a word, but I guess we have to accept it now because times have changed, and even still to this day, uh, before I speak or before I walk out the doors of my house to start my day or to start my week or whatever, uh, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about what my grandparents always told me: "You are a representation of me." So I'm still at 42 years old. I'm still cautious about how I speak, how I carry myself, how I dress, uh, and it's just, I think, something that is going to stick with me forever.
And that's a good thing because it shows that we give first and foremost we give honor to God
Yes.
because that's where we're rooted, but we respect our elders. Um, my father is soon to be 87. My mother is soon to be 85.
Hmm.
And I still there are things that I still don't do just because just because they're older doesn't and I'm older doesn't mean that I can get away with
Of
stuff.
course, of course, right.
But that's not this generation.
Hmm.
Um, when I would interact with the airmen, I was yes sir, no sir.
Yeah,
Um, I think a couple of them because of my age, because I'm almost 20 years older than you.
yeah,
They were like, "You don't have to call me."
yeah,
Nope. My grandmother is not coming back to get me.
yeah.
Nope.
And funny enough, I run into a lot of young people today, and like I said, I know I'm years younger than you, but the 20-year olds and the 19 and 20-year olds, they say yes sir and no sir to me, and I'm like, I get it, but you don't have to. But it's nice to see that because you don't hear that from a
Yes.
lot of young people anymore. So it is very nice to see that. So I wanna
I
we
think.
kind of got off on a tangent a little bit, but that's okay. But I wanna ask you,
Hmm.
what role does the East Coast chapter play in preserving the Tuskegee Airmen's legacy
East
in the
Coast
DMV?
chapter is East Coast chapter was one is the first chapter uh, that was established.
Hmm.
Number one, number two, it's the largest chapter. It has the largest number of members,
Hmm.
and I think uh, part of that was because this is where it got started. Number one, and number two, you have a large number of military right here in the nation's capital.
Yeah.
And for a long time, when they were building this, it was based on military. So let me give you a background.
Okay.
Anytime you have military people, particularly people of different nationalities, the Latinos do it, the Asians do it, and the blacks do it.
Hmm.
When we're stationed and we're grouped together, when you get back to the States, you keep in contact. And that's exactly what the airmen did. They kept in contact. And then they had this idea. We don't have opportunities for youth in underserved neighborhoods to learn about aviation. So let's start doing that. Let's get some scholarships together.
Yeah.
Let's encourage them about aviation. And so that's pretty much how the East Coast chapter got started. We have currently we have two training locations. One is College Park, Maryland,
Hmm.
and the other one is way down at the very end tip of Southern Maryland. Um, and June 6th, we'll be congratulating those students for completion of ground school training as well as aviation training.
And that's was going to be my next question. Going to lead into what kind of flight training or aviation programs does the chapter currently run for students that may want to participate?
So currently, we have drum programs.
Hmm.
We again our motto, which is being is to get the students familiar with aviation before we put them in the plane.
Yeah.
You know, some places just put them in the plane.
Right.
Now, we want you to understand what you're flying, how to make sure there's no trouble with the instrument that you're flying.
Yes.
So we're blessed to have the daughter of General McGee as the lead flight instructor. And she's been very successful in graduating several students every year. I think this year we have 15 to 20 students that are graduating. And we are about to do some additional STEM programs here in the DMV. We're doing, with the new partnership, we'll be doing 3D printing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We'll be doing, what was it?
So
Robotics.
The 3D printing, will they print out drones, or what would that whole process be like?
We're still developing as we're going. It's so new.
Okay.
This is the first time that we'll be doing it, but we're doing it with the University of Maryland.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the process student what is the process that a student has to go through to apply for the school? How does that work?
Currently, the student has to be 15 to get into the ground school, and 16, soon to be 17, to get into the flight part. Again, for licensing purposes. But we work with the schools within our district, Maryland, D.C., and Virginia, and we go through our ROTC programs to select students to participate in the various programs.
So it's like a form of accreditation. You go through the high school and you do so many hours. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So how do
So
I'm sorry, continue.
we're really excited about the expansion. We just got Maryland just got aerospace legislation passed, where it's looking for workforce development within the aerospace sector.
Okay. So how do you partner with local airports, bases, or flight school in the DMV area for hands-on experience? Because I know this is a very serious situation here, man. Because you really have to know what you're doing to uh, fly your plane.
Now let's go back to that excellence part.
Yeah, yeah.
The average plane that I'm finding out, used plane, is going to cost you at a minimum of $250,000. So buying, not so much.
Wow.
We're working on that, but right now we want to get as many youth into the aviation space. And let's be clear, aviation is just not about flying.
Right.
You've got aviation management. In the drone space, there's drone home inspections. It's just so many different things, and the kids are so excited about the vast amount of opportunities that are in aviation. As a matter of fact, when we did do the academy there in New Orleans, I discovered that a young person that completes ground school and gets the certification in ground school, when was I there? 24. They would actually, at 18 years old, be making $65,000. Now, you know good and well, $65,000 in an 18-year-old's hand,
Yeah.
that's a lot of money.
And sometimes I wish I could travel back in time and be 18 again, because I can honestly tell you, when I was in school, there was not a program, like this. And if there was,
It wasn't privy to us.
right. And I tell a lot of these kids today, man, the opportunity's there. You just have to go after it and take it. Nobody's going to hand you anything, but you have to go out and you have to get what you want. So you know what? I got to put you on pause for 1 minute because we We got to go to our first break. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right, man. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com and also on YouTube. We had Miss Angela Holmes from the Tuskegee Airmen Flight School in the DMV area calling in, checking in with us, giving us a little history on the Tuskegee Airmen. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
Hey family, Ron Richardson here, host of Conversations with Ron Richardson. If you're looking for quality catering and barbecue, you need to contact my friends at Kuzan's Catering and Barbecue Team. Mr. Eddie Bunch and Kuzan's have been serving the West Bank since 2013 with their quality selection of barbecue and seafood. If you're looking for quality catering, be sure to contact Kuzan's Catering, located at 618 Westwood Drive in Marrero, or you can go to kuzansonline.com for more information for all the services that they offer, or call 504-233-4227. Catering done the right way just for you. That's Kuzan's, baby.
Hi, this is Sherry Smith for Redefining Ability. When we talk about Black men's mental health, we can't skip the part about disability, visible and invisible. Depression, PTSD, chronic pain, learning disabilities, they're real in our communities, but too often they're told to man up or pray it away. That's not meeting them where they are. Black men are diagnosed with schizophrenia at higher rates, yet undertreated for anxiety and depression. They're more likely to have disabilities from violence, unsafe jobs, or lack of health care. And then stigmatism tells them silence equals strength. But strength is also this, asking for help. It's therapy. It's accommodations at work. It's saying, I'm not okay to your brother without shame. Mental health is help. Disability is part of their story. And community care means we make room for it all. No fixing, no judgment. Just show up. Sit with them. Walk with them. For more on redefining ability, you can email Ron at richardsonronald024@gmail.com. And remember, healing and recovery starts with you. This is Sherry Smith for Redefining Ability. New Orleans, you want to know what we're talking about? Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WBOK for Conversations with Ron Richardson. The topics will always be hot and the conversation will be all the way live. Meet us there. We'll save you a seat. We can also talk about you and your business as a sponsor of Conversations with Ron Richardson. Contact Ron at 504-874-4584 or email him at richardsonronald024@gmail.com for more details.
In a world full of content, standing out is everything, and that is where Mr. Byron Headley comes into play. If you need professional photography, cinematic video, or scroll-stopping video, it is time to give Byron Shoots in Motion a call so he can bring your vision to life, frame by frame. For more information, you can call Byron Headley at 346-365-4379. That's 346-365-4379, or follow him on Instagram at Byron_shoots_in_-motion. Byron_shoots_in_-motion. Byron Shoots in Motion. Capture with purpose, delivered in motion.
Are you looking for the next burlesque sensation? Searching for some prime entertainment on a Sunday night? Well, come down to the Always Lounge as Scarlett Letta presents Show Me Your Noobs. You'll see the finest new entertainers performing burlesque, drag, and a variety of acts that will tease, titillate, and delight you. We are here every third Sunday of the month. Come catch the most raved about show in New Orleans that no one has ever heard of until now. Show Me Your Noobs. It's the perfect night out, whether you're a burlesque regular or sharing your first time with us. Show Me Your Noobs will leave you breathless.
For more information on Show Me Your Noobs, go to thealwayslounge.net.
WBOK online at WBOK1230.com. It's the place where we can be open and honest about real life issues. You're listening to Conversations with Ron Richardson, live on WBOK and online at WBOK1230.com.
Welcome back. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com and also on YouTube. Remember, guys, if you want to keep in contact with me, keep in touch with me, you can find me on social media. Just search for the Ron Rich or Ronald Richardson Jr. Facebook page. You can also find me on Instagram at Ronald_Richardson_Jr. on Instagram. I also have a secondary Instagram page. You can also find me on Ronnie_Richardson_Jr. on Instagram and Ronald_Richardson_Jr. on TikTok, LinkedIn, and I am also new to Substack, which I'm still trying to get the hang of. And we have Miss Angela Holmes on the line with us. Angela, tell the people where they can get in contact with you and for more information about the Tuskegee Airmen Flight School in DMV.
You can reach me at 1STVP@TuskegeeAirmen.org.
Yeah, still hanging with me? You enjoying yourself?
Oh, I'm having a ball.
All right. So we talked about, you know, the Tuskegee Airmen Flight School and what you guys do. So let's say I'm a new and incoming student at the Tuskegee Flight School in DMV. I've been accepted. What does
hmm
a typical day look like for a uh, new student?
Well, they get to know their classmates. They're integrated with
Mm-hmm.
their fellow uh, students,
Mm-hmm.
their fellow teammates. Um, it's all about team building
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be a team in the cockpit. So the students get acclimated with one another,
Yeah.
and they begin learning about the basics of aviation,
Mm-hmm.
what it's about, how it works. Getting we kind of learn the students' personalities.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you have some students that are super shy, some students that are really outgoing,
Yeah.
and we kind of learn a little bit about the students before we dive in.
What is the most important thing that a new and incoming student should take away from your program? What is the biggest lesson you think that they should take away from this program?
The biggest lesson that each student should take away
Mm-hmm.
is, the history that we have been exposed to through the Tuskegee Airmen and all of the supporting um, crew members,
Mm-hmm.
staff, etc., and that they too can achieve. They have more opportunities to achieve what I guess the students now would be their great grandparents or their great great grandparents were able to do without a lot of the opportunities. You've got computers, you've got AI, you've got all these things that now help you navigate a plane. They were flying planes with the stick shift versus the computerized version that you have now. So their minds should be open for all of the different horizons that they can um, elevate towards.
And I want to touch bases on you. You know, what inspired
Mm-hmm.
you to take a leadership role, such as this role you have taken with the flight school?
Well, I've actually been a community advocate for a long, long time.
Yes.
And when I going back to my grandparents, my grandmother was a community leader. My great aunt, who's still with us, who's now 95, um, staunch advocate for children in education. She was an educator. So seeing that around me said that you can't affect change unless you're part of the change. So my motto is this: I have no problem being the representative, the voice of the community. I just need butts and seats. So what that means is don't come to me with a problem and we work on a solution, but then when it's time to be in front of the legislators or the corporate people, you're nowhere near me. I need, I can't, I can go and represent, but it doesn't have the same impact as if I have those that are all concerned
Of course.
in the room with me.
Right. Why do you think that is? People talk a good game. They say they want to, you know, they want to see things change, but when it all boils down to it, and it's time to put boots to the ground, you know, in butts and seats, nobody shows up, or they have a tendency to back away. Why do you think that is?
I believe it's a historical thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, and I hate to have to go all the way back, but
It's all
if you
good.
remember during slave time,
Yeah.
the field Negroes versus the house Negroes, the field Negroes didn't want to make any noise most of the time because they didn't want master to be mad at us.
Right.
And the house Negroes, although they were not as uh, likely to have an upheaval,
Mm-hmm.
they were getting the information and they were affecting change because they were on the inside. So in today's society, people just in the community, being the president of a uh, civic association, I learned that people don't want to, oh, I don't want to say anything against the county exec.
Right.
Why? Because when you look at the org chart, the
Mm-hmm.
county exec reports to you, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
With And so they don't understand. I have to say something in order for something to be done. And it could be as little as five people making noise and things start changing. But people don't see that. They don't want to cause any confusion. They don't want any problems.
Right.
And then
It,
that's been passed on for generations.
yeah, it's what I find too. They don't like when we stand up for ourselves. They don't like when we say what's on our mind. We're considered
Mm-hmm.
arrogant. We're considered a troublemaker when we speak out about something that we know is wrong, and nobody's doing anything about it. I can tell you in my experience of working in radio as long as I have that there have been certain situations where I'll speak my mind and then like, wait a minute, no, you're not supposed to say that. But if it's wrong and you can see how it's affecting a fellow coworker or employee, what are we supposed to do? We're just supposed to sit back and not say anything at all. So I think it's an issue of just like you said, it stems from slave times and us being afraid of what the outcome is going to be if we speak on something.
Well, it was passed down. If you look at the migration, and once we got to the city, the mindset of what we had in the South was not the mindset of the people in the North, right?
Yes.
And the people in the North had no problem speaking out. I mean, I look at Harriet Tubman from the Eastern Shore of Maryland. She was making all kinds of noises
Right.
on the plantation. That's why they hit her in the head.
Right. Right.
So when people see things like that, they're like, oh, no, I don't want any part of that. But back to your examples, you had an example of a healthy mindset and of what it looks like to walk in this world. You move around unless you tell people that you have a handicap.
Yes.
Nobody knows what's going on with you.
Yes. And
All I know is you were taller than me. That's
yeah,
it.
I get that a lot, man. To give you a backstory on Angela and myself, we met at the Tuskegee Airmen Flight Convention down here in 2024 in New Orleans, right?
2025.
2025, yeah, 2025, and
Mm-hmm.
we just struck up a conversation, and I was like, hey, I got a radio show, she's like, hey, whenever you need me, I'm there. So, and I get that a lot, from people. One of the biggest issues that I dealing with the disability, and being a differently able warrior is that I don't drive, but I move around like I have my own transportation. One of my friends tell me all the time, he's like, man, look, if we didn't know, we think you rocking and rolling, which I do, but I do have my limitations. And it goes back to what we stated earlier, in the last segment. My family taught me that despite your challenges and despite what you may have going on physically, you can't let that affect your mind. You
Mm-hmm.
have to go after what you want. And like I said, even in the workplace when it came to me, I've been considered arrogant or I've been considered somewhat of a troublemaker because I don't take no for an answer. And anybody can tell you when Ron walks into a room, he's gonna command it, and he's gonna make you notice him. And that's what I was always taught. You be honest with yourself first of all, and then everything else will follow.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. When I walk in a room, first of all, I try. Sometimes I want to come in the room like incognito, just so that I can observe. Right?
Yes.
It doesn't work. It does not work.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I got a wig on, a hat on. It doesn't matter. I try to do that, trying to just
Right.
find out what the temperature of the room.
Right.
People recognize my energy, and that's ultimately what we want for those students.
Yes.
Some of the students are afraid of themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I teach public speaking, and what I've noticed is that there's a lot of and I'm not sure.
Right.
No. You're the subject matter expert, and that, my friend, is what you are, the subject matter expert. And so when you are that polished in that space, you're a threat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are a threat. I'm 5'4",
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times when I walk in the room, I promise you, people think I'm 6'2". I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I'm a knowledgeable person. I'm a gregarious person. I like teaming people together. I want us to win only if you're part of the excellent crowd. And what I mean by that is you have to be sure of yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to put in the heavy work. And you have to be mentally ready for the blessing you're going to get. Because a lot of times I think when we think of what we want, God kind of laughs at us and says, yeah, I'll give you that, but I'm going to give you tenfold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then when you get the tenfold, you're like, wait, hold on. I don't think that's what I had asked for.
Mm-hmm. I think
so
back
that's what I see in you.
I think back to many times in my life. I've been in radio 16 years, it'll be 17 years this August. And, you know, I was just waiting on a breakthrough. I was like, when is it really going to happen? When am I going to get my opportunity to branch off and do my own show? God sat me down and he humbled me for a minute. He was like, no, before you get that, I got to put you through this, to make sure that this is something that you really want. And, that's what a lot of people don't take into account. Like, God really has a way of humbling you. And one of the things that I love about Steve Harvey, he said, God is really fair. He'll bring about a set of circumstances that'll make you jump into something else in order for you to see the bigger picture or the opportunity that's in front of you. And all that does is make you appreciate, the journey of how you got there even more. And you will always respect what he set in place for you when he does it.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. You have to be humble. And you have to be mentally ready.
Yeah.
Who are you doing it for? It can't be about you. It can't be about anyone else. It's always got to be God first. And I think a lot of times in the mental space, particularly in the military,
yes,
they forget that because, you're told to get up at this time, you're told to eat at this time, and you lose your focus.
Yeah.
Unless you're well grounded before you go in. But statistics have shown that a lot of times these people going into the military, you know how in the mental health space they've got all different names for it, but PTSD.
Yeah.
Well, they came home from World War II with PTSD. Yes, they did, but they had PTSD before they left here.
Right.
Jim Crow and all of that other stuff. They were going through a whole bunch of stuff before you put a gun in their hand.
Right.
Then you put a gun in their hand and have them shooting an enemy, and then you bring them back to the States. Now, what are they supposed to do? So I don't think that people look at that.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I started conversations with Ron Richardson. A lot of people, man, are dealing with a lot of our veterans, are just dealing with stuff that they otherwise don't get to talk about. Or if they talk about it to somebody, you know,
Mhm.
they're judged, or
Yep.
they're told, okay, well, you shouldn't really feel that way. And my thing to everyone is, how can you tell somebody how to feel? If I'm dealing with something and I'm pouring out my heart to you, and you're just shunning it away like it doesn't even matter, that's what causes, you know, a rift, and that's what causes people to just go back into their own shell. And that's why, like, the suicide rate is so high with men,
Mhm.
and women in the military, because they're not allowed to talk about the things that plague them.
But they weren't allowed to talk about it at home either. If
Right.
you look at the black culture, what goes on in our house stays in our house. Well,
Yes. Yeah.
that kind of doesn't work.
Yeah.
If you've got a person that, for whatever reason, has a mental imbalance, and you're a child in that house trying to figure out what the heck did I get put in?
Yeah.
Well, how do I deal with this?
Yeah.
And then you go outside the house and you dare not say anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or, fellas, man, you got to suck that up.
Right.
Remember those conversations at the barber shop or wherever
Very
you
well.
hang out?
Very well.
Man, you got to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Who told you that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It goes back to what you said about being humble.
Mm-hmm.
And so because we're serving underserved youth for the bulk of the program, I'm not going to say that that's all the program, because we want all students to be exposed. Um, you have to look at that. What's going on in the neighborhood? What's going on in the house? Are they in a church setting? Um, how are they doing in school? All those have factors, because now you're going to put this individual in a plane, although it's not a jet, but you're going to put them in a plane, right?
Right.
That's a big piece of equipment that you have to mentally be sure of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get up there in the air. And I remember talking to at least 4 of the students there in New Orleans. My question was, do you feel confident when you're flying the plane? And 2 of them said, nah. Oh, then why are you, no, I'm going to need you on the ground until you're sure.
Yes.
You can't, although they got instructors with them, you know what I mean? But if you're not engaging with some kind of confidence that, hey, as I learn, I'm going to get better. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
And then one young man was a little arrogant. He was just in it. He was just in his hustle stage, if that makes sense. He's 19 years old, and well, I got this job and I got this job. The aviation is just a summer thing. And so we want to, as leaders in the organization, we want to be mentors. We want to make sure there are intern opportunities. We want to make sure that if flying is not for you, there's still places for you in the aerospace, aerodynamics, aviation space, period. I promise you, I did not know there were so many integral parts of being in aviation other than flying. And I've been around aviation for a long time. My surrogate brother, who I've known since I was 17, started off as a firefighter. Now he's a senior pilot for United.
Wow. So this runs in the family.
Pretty much. I remember when he started with the pod hoppers planes. He was like, "Come on, you got. I need somebody to sit where? Sit on the plane as I'm testing it out. No, nope. Mm-mm. I wasn't ready then.
Right.
When we flew to Italy last year to look at the location that the various airmen had been in Italy, gave me a whole new perspective of what people do in airports, what the staff does on the airplane, and then how the pilots actually fly. I had taken the drone class, and I had all kinds of questions. I'm sitting there looking at the screen as we're going over mountains and this, that, and the other. And that's what we want, for the students to be that kind of curious.
All right, so hold tight for me, okay? Because we got to go to the second break, and we'll come back and we'll finish this, all right? Mm-hmm. All right, this is Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. I have my girl, Miss Angela Holmes, first Vice President of the Tuskegee Airmen East Coast chapter in the DMV. We'll be right back after this. Hit us up, 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson, live on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. Back after these messages, folks. Peace.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Ron Richardson here. If you are like me, that means you love the feeling of getting a fresh haircut and shave. If you do, then you should check out my friends Eddie and Dana Bunch at First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon, specializing in hairstyles for men, women, and children. If you want to make a good first impression, you should check out First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon, located at 618 Westwood Drive in Marrero, or call 504-341-6777. Remember, it's never too late to make that first impression at First Impressions Barber and Beauty Salon.
New Orleans, you want to know what we're talking about? Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WBOK for Conversations with Ron Richardson. The topics will always be hot and the conversation will be all the way live. Meet us there. We'll save you a seat. We can also talk about you and your business as a sponsor of Conversations with Ron Richardson. Contact Ron at 504-874-4584 or email him at richardsonronald024@gmail.com for more details.
Hi, everyone. This is Angie from the Sincerely Angie podcast, and I'm excited to share something special with you. My friend Ron Richardson, the host of Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM and streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com, is releasing an inspiring new book called Redefining Ability. This powerful book challenges the stigma surrounding mental health and reminds us that our struggles don't define our limits. They can redefine our strength. Redefining Ability is about hope, resilience, and changing the conversation about mental health in our families, our communities, and within ourselves. The official release date is May 15th, 2026. You'll be able to download the ebook through Kindle Direct Publishing and be a part of the movement that's breaking stigma and celebrating the power of ability. Because ability isn't about perfection, it's about perseverance. Redefining Ability by Ron Richardson.
Are you looking for the next burlesque sensation? Searching for some prime entertainment on a Sunday night? Well, come down to the Always Lounge as Scarlett Letta presents Show Me Your Noobs. You'll see the finest new entertainers performing burlesque, drag, and a variety of acts that will tease, titillate, and delight you. We're here every third Sunday of the month. Come catch the most raved about show in New Orleans that no one has ever heard of until now. Show Me Your Noobs. It's the perfect night out, whether you're a burlesque regular or sharing your first time with us. Show Me Your Noobs will leave you breathless.
For more information on Show Me Your Noobs, go to thealwayslounge.net.
This is Ron Richardson with Redefining Ability. This week, we're talking about black men and mental health. Mental health is an essential part of overall well-being for many black men, yet it remains an overlooked and often stigmatized topic. While conversations about mental health have grown more common in recent years, black men continue to face unique social, cultural, and systemic barriers that make seeking help difficult. I am speaking directly to all my brothers, and I am telling you to take charge of your mental health and open up about the issue that you may be going through. There is no shame in showing weakness or being vulnerable. This is Ron Richardson with Redefining Ability. For more information about Redefining Ability, you can contact me at richardsonronald024@gmail.com. richardsonronald024@gmail.com. And remember, healing and recovery start with you. In a world full of content, standing out is everything. And that is where Mr. Byron Hadley comes into play. If you need professional photography, cinematic video, or scroll stopping video, it is time to give Byron Shoots in Motion a call so he can bring your vision to life, frame by frame. For more information, you can call Byron Hadley at 346-365-4379. That's 346-365-4379, or follow him on Instagram at Byron_shoots_in_-motion. Byron_shoots_in_-motion. Byron Shoots in Motion. Capture with purpose, delivered in motion.
Get in on the conversation at 504-582-9422.
Thanks for listening to Conversations with Ron Richardson, live on WBOK, and listen online at WBOK1230.com. Now, back to Ron.
Welcome back. This is Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Harold Clark, aka Hal Clark. He has a new play coming out August 13th through the 16th, 2026, and it's going to be held at the La Petite Theater, 616 Peter Street, New Orleans, Louisiana. And the name of the play is called Yanking Mr. Gidry. You can get tickets. It's called 504-522-2081. 504-522-2081. I would like to also give a special shout out to Dr. Liz Johnson Dupree. She has a new play that's going on now. It's called The Lament, and it is held at the Andre Caillou Center, 2541 Bayou Road, New Orleans, Louisiana. Tickets available at tinyurl.com/The Lament Play. So please check those two out. Those are two great people that I just mentioned that are part of the Conversations with Ron Richardson and WBOK 1230 Extended Family. Nonetheless, we are back with my featured guest, Miss Angela Holmes of the Tuskegee Airmen Flight School in the DMV area. You still hanging with me? How are you?
I'm still hanging here.
All right. So we're in our last segment, and I wanted you to continue talking about, the flight school, but I want to ask you, what has been your biggest accomplishment, or what do you feel has been your biggest accomplishment since you've taken leadership at the flight school in your current position?
Actually, my biggest accomplishment as first vice president has been getting people to reach across the aisle. So you have three different regions: Eastern, Central, and Western. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, the chapters within those regions just socialize with each other.
Yes.
At the convention, I actually got them to introduce themselves, get to know one another, because maybe programs that are working in the Central region could work in the Eastern or vice versa. But we had become so encapsulated in our region. So that for me was a great accomplishment, getting people to talk, open up. The other part is I've gotten more people to see the need for this kind of education, working with different universities, be it HBCUs or regular universities. And I've actually convinced some of the regional officers to actually step up and start speaking out in public. A lot of people they'll do the job, but they don't want to do the public speaking part.
Right.
And so a lot of them are actually starting to step up and voice their opinions, which is great, because you represent members within your region.
Right.
And so we've been doing that successfully. We've been curious about collaborating with local legislators, which is what we're doing here in the DMV. We'll be collaborating with the vice mayor of Capitol Heights, Maryland, which is an incorporated town. We're working with probably 12 Black-owned aerospace and STEM companies here in the DMV. working on those internships for the youth. So during the time that I've been in office, we're opening up opportunities towards the 21st century, which is very important. In order for our people, all our students, to grow in this space, we've got to create the opportunities and function like that type of corporation in the 21st century.
So,
as well as keeping the history.
What's next for you in the flight school in near future?
I'm going to continue to focus on several things. One is compliance. I think getting the students to understand compliance is everything, because you just like you get a driver's license, if you don't comply, you don't get to keep your driver's license. Mm-hmm. Same thing with your pilot's license or your drone's license. And here in the DMV, drone space is very limited because of the basics.
All right, so you know what? We got to put this one on pause. There will be a part 2 to this. We just got to sit back and coordinate and schedule everything, because this is very interesting. I want to continue this conversation and get the word out there about you guys. Nonetheless, quickly, any words of encouragement or positivity that you want to pass along to anybody before we close? Very quickly.
I'd like to have the community to reach out to your schools and reach out to the local chapters of the Tuskegee Airmen and get involved. You don't have to be a pilot. You don't have to be a scholar. You can just be a citizen that wants to see things work out better for the students.
All right, Ms. Holmes, all the best to you, okay?
Same to you.
All right, see you soon. All right, guys, this has been Conversations with Ron Richardson on WBOK 1230 AM, streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com. See you guys next week, same time, same place, same bat channel. And remember, healing and recovery start with you. I love you, New Orleans. See you next week. Peace.
WBOK online